So I'm very philanthropic. I love to help with outward charities, and not necessarily just on the financial front, but if I can volunteer, if I can help mentor, I'm always up for that. Especially charities that hold a special place in my heart, and one of them being a charity called Music for Youth, which is a UK-based charity where they basically provide platforms for children all over the country to perform in festivals in front of hundreds and thousands of people, and then it culminates every year at Royal Albert Hall at the school's proms. So I got involved where I was adjudicating some of these unbelievable performances, and basically what would happen is you would choose the top performers to come in ultimately and perform at the school's proms. And then I had this idea, wouldn't it be a great idea, like this is great for performing, and the kids getting up on stage and being able to learn how to perform in front of a big audience, but they never really had the opportunity to record, and that's a whole other artistry in itself. And I thought, okay, well, why don't we pick a few of these kids who can play guitar, who can sing, who can, and come into London and record on a record. So we found some choirs who were unbelievable, strings, with guitarists, bassists, with about 30 or 40 of them, and we bussed them all down to London, and we recorded in this unbelievable studio in Metropolis here in London. And it was, these kids were just, and I got to mentor them. They were just so excited to be on this record. Anyway, we ended up pulling together this whole record. It was basically my passions at the time. It was hard rock meets Motown. So I basically took some of these classic Motown tracks and sort of rocked out with them. And it was a heck of a lot of fun to do. And the kids got to play, and it was great. And then one of the DJs, there was a DJ who had actually had some involvement in the charity, remixed one of the tracks and sent it out to like these pool of DJs, and suddenly it started like climbing up the charts in the clubs. And I get this, I'm like sitting between Lady Gaga and the Scissor Sisters on the club charts, and with it was like, hold on a minute, what? I mean, this is supposed to be like a rock Motown album, and I've got this dance track here, and like all of a sudden, like I was getting calls from producers like literally off the back of this charity album, going, your vocal suits this genre of music. Would you be interested in writing some dance tracks with us? And I'd be like, okay, sure. Like, that sounds amazing. So here I am now in my late 30s, early 40s, and I'm like writing an album of poppy dance tracks. And so it was interesting because now suddenly I have to tour, and I have to leave the house and the kids and perform live and do radio shows and go on the road. And so my mom was coming over from Canada a lot to help out with the kids and fill in the gaps. But also, when the record was releasing, we were like, I had the opportunity to sign with a record label. And then I realized that if that was the case, then I wouldn't be able to like be in control of any of this. And I found that like with this one single, and I had to be on the road, was hard enough, juggling the fact that I had 4 kids in the house, and I had to logistically manage my mother coming over to help with the kids, and my husband still was working, and how was I going to juggle all this? And so if I was going to sign with this record label, it'd be like, forget about it. I wasn't ever coming home. They're going to want me to do like all these shows all over. And so I spoke about it with my husband, and I was like, you know what, let's take this home and see if there is a way that we can, release this on our own label. And I didn't even have a label. So I had to like talk to people about how we could start a label. And this way I was able to control what went out and how much I was able to work the records. And yeah, it was a really interesting thing, because now I became like an entrepreneur, not just a recording artist. So I'm running the label and controlling the sort of machine behind the label as well. And it was just a crazy, crazy time. but it worked for me. It worked really well for me, and yeah, and it was great because I started, you know, my management and I were sort of keeping the decisions in-house, and it was great to control that. I thought that was the right thing to do at the time.